Okay, hold
And
on.
we're live. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to the Hebrew Woman Show. I am your host, Renaissance Woman, aka Ren Judah, and I'm here with my co-host, Dale. This channel is a channel for women by women, and what we do here is we explore our biblical principles. We seek to be women that examine ourselves. 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, "Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Christ is in you, except you be reprobate." So taking the time to examine yourself, to get your status in geography, as we talked about before, meaning knowing what's going on with you, where you are right now, what's going on in your life, putting a name to it, defining it, gives you the tools you need to examine yourself and know whether you are operating within Christ. We seek to be women of Titus because Titus tells us that we are to be teachers of good things, that the aged women be like the men, sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith and charity and in patience, so that we become a behavior that is becometh holiness, not false accusers, not giving too much wine, but teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their children, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be chaste, keepers at home, good and obedient to their husbands, and the word, so that the word of God may not be blasphemed. So our goal here is to train ourselves to think biblically, not emotionally. That doesn't mean we're saying you need to be a robot or some type of Stepford wife. It is to just say that we need to understand that we cannot let our emotions overrule good, sound behavior. And we're here to fellowship with one another, to uplift one another, to support each other, and give wise counsel to each other. Because Proverbs 11:14 says, "Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in a multitude of counselors, there is safety." So when you surround yourself with women who are moving within the body of Christ, who are seeking to be women of Titus, you are surrounding yourself with people who are here to be a guide, a light to you. And we support one another. We're not here to lord over one another or to talk down to each other. I find that a lot of times you will find content creators or teachers of faith who want to be rulers over you, to lord over you, but that's what Christ told us not to do. That's exactly what he warned us against doing. That's not behavior that brethren and sisters should have towards one another. Proverbs 19:20 says for us to hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou may be wise in thy latter end. There's no fool like an old fool. So if you are a person who is unwilling to listen, unwilling to hear wise counsel, to seek it out, to seek wisdom, you will not be wise in your latter end. You will be an old fool. And I know I don't want to be an old fool. So you guys, we're not telling you that you should take everything you hear us or anybody else says as the gospel. Because 1 John 4:1 says, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world." Just because somebody has a mic and they start to channel, it does not mean that they are coming to you in the right spirit or that they have the right attitude or purpose for what you are trying to achieve in your life. And if your chief aim is to fear God and keep the commandments, you have to try the spirits. You have to watch people, see how they move, watch how they're behaving, and is it behavior that becometh holiness? If you are seeing poor behavior, it is not your job to rationalize it, to try to justify it. Oh, well, maybe they're just having a bad day. Or maybe, well, I know they've done this before, but, you're trying to rationalize wickedness. And what that is a character flaw. It is cowardice on your part because you are not willing to speak up in the name of righteousness. You are willing to go along to get along. And that is definitely something that does not become holiness. And so, what we're talking about today, we've been doing the 21 indisputable characteristic qualities of a leader. And one of those qualities, of what I just mentioned here, is courage. When you don't have the courage to stand up and do the right thing, when you just get along go along to get along and agree with whatever someone is saying because you don't want to stir the pot or you don't want to be the one that is speaking out in opposition. That is cowardice. And God has not given us the spirit of fear. Okay? We're here to sharpen one another on this journey. Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. So you need to be around people who are going to make you sharper, who are going to make you better, smarter, wiser. And if you're not doing that, you're keeping the wrong company. And that's not what we're about here on this channel, okay? So let's just get right to it. And let's talk about these qualities, Zell, that we've been covering over the last couple of weeks as we sat and listened to the 21 indisputable qualities of the leader. I
Yes,
felt
I'm
like
looking
yesterday.
forward to this. I'm looking. Oh, do I have any background noise?
No, you're fine. I
Okay,
feel like
I'm looking
yesterday we
forward
had
to
a
it.
dynamic conversation, and I just wanted to pick up there. Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to going through these because I'm gonna tell you something. They really affect your life, and for anyone as you follow through with any of these, they affect your entire life. Do not think that this is only for one particular part of your life. This is about building character across the board, and it should and will affect every aspect of your life, everything that you do. Don't expect to be perfect in all one fell swoop. These are things you're going to have to implement. It might even have to be a situation where one thing at a time,
Yeah.
today, this week, this month, I'm simply working on this one thing. And then as you continue to improve, you add something to it because it can be overwhelming. I mean, these are 21 things. You can't do all of it at one time just because, you read this book or you listen to this book. It's going to take some time to implement it and to really think about it. I know we all have lives and we're moving, and a lot of things move fast. And before you know it, you've done something or said something, and you have to and these really have to become habits, and they have to be integrated into your life to where, you do things intentionally or even really without thinking, because sometimes you can react so fast and before you know it, you've gone against one of the rules. And so this just gonna take time for us to get there. And that's basically what I wanted to say about that.
And what I think like about all of these qualities is that they mesh with scripture. These are qualities that you have to cultivate in order to grow, not just as a leader, but spiritually as well. Just these are things that you can think on these things, and they will help strengthen your faith and your character. And that's the first quality here. And I believe these qualities we're going to keep them on this slide because, again, for me, these are all things that are going to be foundations in your faith building. So this is not something these are qualities that you're always going to have ups and downs in your life period where you may struggle with courage. You may struggle with character, charisma. You might not want to show up and be that. You're more of an introvert. You don't want to be the one to step out and introduce yourself to people. You may not want to be the one to speak up when you see things that aren't right. So all of these things and having the ability to embody these characteristics are really great tools to have in your spiritual toolkit. So yesterday we were just talking about um, we're in this book we're talking about leadership, right? And in some of the context you would think that we're just talking about leadership at home, but to the Zell's point, these are things that are going to show up. Leadership shows up everywhere in your life, and to the point that I added a couple of scripture here because Matthew 5:13, Christ told us that ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its savor, wherewith the salt shall it be salted? Is it then it is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden under the feet of man. So, us being the salt of the earth, if we have lost our savor, if we have lost our flavor, if we do not have courage and strength and the ability to embody these characteristics, we've lost our savor. What are we good for? Nothing. Because if you are the light of the world, what good are you if you're hidden under a bushel? So Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father that is in heaven. So you are showing up as a representative of this faith, of this God. You are showing God that through you People are seeing what it looks like to follow the Most High and to keep His laws, statutes, and commandments. And so when you're wishy-washy, when you can't make a decision, when you can't stand on anybody, on anything, you're showing everybody that you don't have the faith that you claim to have because you're fearful, you're a coward, you don't speak up when you should, you lack integrity. And, I don't think we think about it a lot of times, and I can say that I have been one, Zell, where you talk about being indecisive. Sometimes I
yeah.
struggle with making that decision. Even sometimes when it comes to what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't know. You don't want to make a decision because you don't want to put anybody off.
Exactly,
Or
because it's not that I don't know. It's just that I think about things like what does he or what does she, depending on who I'm with, what do they want to hear? And so I'm
Mhm.
trying, the answer is not the truth. It's more, I want to make the other person happy and I want to say what they want to hear versus what I know to be true.
And when you show up like that, whether it's in a leadership position at work or even as just an employee or as a mother, a father, wherever you are, a daughter, a sister, when you show up wishy-washy and you can't make sound decisions, people tend to get the idea that they can't trust you. And I didn't think about that till we really started digging in that because I always thought my indecisiveness was just, oh, I just can't make up my mind. And, well, a woman has the right to, we have a prerogative to change our mind. And yes, everybody has the prerogative to change their mind. But if you are always flapping in the wind and you're never decisive, it sends the wrong signal, especially professionally, when you can't make a decision and they eventually get to the point where they just start dismissing you and
And they
dismissing the
really
things that
do.
you say.
They really
Mhm.
do. And the thing is, they don't understand. Because one thing I've noticed, especially about myself, is it's not that I don't know. It's just that I don't want to say it for
And then
whatever
so
the
then we go
reason.
back to courage, and I had that
Yeah,
same thing. Like I see what's going on, but I don't have the courage to make a stand. And that is
exactly.
something. That's what I like about these qualities because they make you do what 2 Corinthians 13:5 says: examine yourself. Well, why won't I do it?
Hmm.
Why won't I just say no? Because what did Christ tell us to do? Let's go to it. Let's see. I think I have on here. Yeah, Matthew 5:37. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever else is more than these cometh of evil. So do you notice when you don't make a sound decision, when you don't let your no's be no's and your yeses be yeses, a lot of BS comes behind it. A lot of chaos and confusion comes behind it because again, you're vacillating. You're not making a stand. You're not letting your word be your bond. You're allowing fear to prevent you from showing up and being the leader or the example, the light, the salt that you should be.
Exactly. And the thing is, if you don't know, if you genuinely need time to think about it, then say that. I never
Say
thought
that.
about that. Let me think about what I actually want. Because sometimes it may be simple as I'm really not hungry right now. I don't want to eat right now.
And
It
I'm
may
just
not,
that's I'm not even just talking about food. I'm just talking about like
yeah.
everything. Like, hey, you know what? I need to think on that and get back to you. Don't allow people to box you in and force
Hmm.
you to make a decision. That's another thing that comes from courage because a lot of times you'll tell someone that you're going to do something just because you didn't want to disappoint them. People
Yep,
pleasing is a disease. And you
it
will say
is.
yes when you don't want to say yes. And you will do things that you find yourself in situations. And that's why he says, whatsoever more cometh, this is evil. Because if you know the answer is not no, the answer is not yes, and you say it anyway, evil always
Hmm.
comes from that. You end up getting it. You ever tell somebody you didn't want to take them to the store, for example, but you told them, yeah, I'll take you. And then you guys end up getting into it on the trip. And you're like, I should have just said no. This is what
Exactly.
happens when you lack the courage and the integrity to say what you need to say and mean
Hmm.
it. Genesis 4:7, when the Most High told Cain, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doesn't do well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. You know, when you welcome sin in, it does rule over you. Because at this point, everything is pure chaos. It's totally out of your hands. And you're just like, how the hell did this get away from me? How did I end up in
Mm-hmm.
this situation? Why am I doing things that I know, number one, I should not do because they go against my morals, my values? You're eating things that you know are against the dietary law because you want to go along to get along. Oh, there's nothing,
Mm-hmm.
you are going against your own intuition. You're going against your own spirit, your own self. So of course
Exactly.
evil is going to befall you.
Yep. And it might not, and it's funny because that can come in so many forms. And that's part of what we're talking about even here now today is all of this. There's so many ways that this can come at you, and you won't even realize that it's all part of the same thing. Because it could be a matter of you don't want to turn down someone else's food that they're offering you, or it could be a matter of you go, because I mean, I've been to restaurants and I specifically say I don't want X, and then I find out when they bring it to me, it's got what I don't want in it. Or there's something on it. They put bacon bits on my
Yeah,
salad. And I'm like, so some people, I've seen some people, they'll just go ahead and eat it anyway because they don't want to wait for them to bring them a new salad. And I'm like, that's part of it right there. You got
that
to
is.
have patience.
You
You got to
don't
say
want to be
no.
the one to be the one to send something back. You don't want that to be
Mhm.
you, but we send it
Yeah,
back every time around here because I am not going to
exactly.
eat this unclean food. Because the dietary law is not to punish you or prevent you from having tasty things. When you do the research on these foods that you're told not to eat, you realize that they cause ill health. You know, one of the first things your doctor tells you when you're diagnosed with high blood pressure is to stop eating pork, chips, and canned goods because they are high sodium. These things contribute to heart disease and high blood pressure, you know? So it's not to hurt you, it's actually to help you and help you, the temple be pure and clean and function properly. If you buy a car that tells you it needs premium gas and you go put regular unleaded in it, can you be surprised when it's not functioning properly? So when you go put things into your temple that the Most High told you not to, why are you surprised when your health is failing? You know, it just makes sense. So we were talking of, so we want to talk about like your character and how courage, like all these things, when you really go down the list, and I think that's probably why character is number one because all of these things become part of your character. When you embody all of these principles, they become part of that. Bill, you want to say something?
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, all of these things actually help to shore up your character because it was interesting that character is the first thing because what it does is as if he's saying character, but then he's saying, hey, a part of character is each one of these items. It all supports having character, and we never really think of it that way. But that's what's basically going to happen with each item that we talk about. It all leads back to character.
It does, and that goes for you. You know, I think that in order to be a good leader, I think the saying is true that you have to be a good follower. So, who do you answer to? Are you following Christ? Are you following the law, statutes of the commandments of the Most High? Because guess what? When you don't follow your leader, when we don't follow the true and living God, these other the people who are in our care and keeping to lead, they end up showing up just like you. You know, my friend who my former director, she used to always say to us about our team, however you be, that's how they're going to be. And it was true. Everything that we weren't doing, guess what? When we looked at our team, they weren't doing it either. If we weren't
Hmm.
doing what we're supposed to do, you cannot be surprised that your team is not doing what they're supposed to do. If you are being disobedient, your children are going to be disobedient because they are watching you and how you follow. You know,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it's going to be. They're going to mimic you. They're going to go as far as you go. If you're not doing it, why would they do it? If they're
exactly.
doing things that you should be doing, then that makes them the leader, not you.
Mhm.
And that's a problem in and of itself. And I don't think people ever really stop and think about those things, but that's really what a lot of it is. And it comes back to you got to think about it. Really makes you, what do we say? You really have to study and look at yourself and
Yep.
really think about, hey, what am I doing? It's time for me to have a sit down and look in the mirror and say, where do I need to improve? What is it that I need to work on? And look at yourself for who you really are, not who you want yourself to be. Don't, just take off all of the stuff and look at yourself for who you truly, truly are and how you truly move in this world. And then from that point on, once you get real with yourself, you have to stop back and say, okay, let me find this thing and let me try to be right and just in this one area, if nothing else, and just work on that and then slowly build, because the Rome was not built in a day. All of this is not going to happen overnight, and you have to give yourself a little bit of grace, because if you want to actually move ahead and you want those that follow you to move ahead, and that be done in spirit and in truth, then you've got to be real with yourself. You've got to say, hey, this is what I am. This is truly where I stand in this world right now. And I want to, when I move forward and when I improve and my people improve, I want that to be real. I don't want all that stuff to be based on a lie. You
You got
want
to
it to
be
be
honest
actual
with
improvement.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be willing to examine yourself. You have to. And when I'm talking about examining yourself, I'm not just saying acknowledge, oh, well, I dropped the ball on that. Yeah, admit your flaws, admit your mistakes, and that gives you some validity too as well when you can admit that you're wrong because you
And,
don't know everything.
and is that a
And
one-time thing, or do you consistently drop the ball in this particular area? It's one thing if it's a one-off. It's something else
right,
when all of a sudden, and was I just late today? Or if you look back over the last 6 months and you're late every Monday morning, or you're always,
every day you're late
yeah,
for the meetings, you're late for everything. Why are you late?
yep.
Because you need to examine that. Look at yourself. Why am I showing up this way? Who am I showing people that I
Mm-hmm.
am? I have to look at that. I have to look at myself with this last situation that I just went through. And I had to take a break. I said, you know what? I need to take some time off to examine myself and see what am I doing. And I had to come to understand that a lot of the things that were happening because I was entertaining it. You don't have to sit on every toilet you're invited to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to attend every fight and argument that you are invited to. Because guess what? When you don't do well, sin lieth at the door. When you have a problem with your integrity, with your character, with showing up and following your own beliefs and values, embodying these qualities, sin lieth at the door. Because
Mm.
let's see, character, integrity, and trustworthiness form the foundation of a leader's credibility. Can your kids, your friends, your family, your boss, your subordinates, your co-workers, can they take what you say to the bank? Or are
Mm-hmm.
you just a people pleaser? People pleasing is a disease, and it rots you from the inside out. You don't really get that when you're younger. You don't really realize how being a people pleaser whittles away at your integrity, how it whittles away at your values and your ability to show up strong. Because every time you allow people to run over you, every time you don't speak up and do the right thing, you not only lose credibility with people, but with yourself.
Exactly.
You can't even trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't trust and believe in yourself, guess what? You got a hard road to hoe. You know,
So true. So very true.
when you show up as a woman of God and you are embodying his principles and walking in your faith, it gives you such confidence. It gives you the ability to speak with clarity. It gives you the ability to speak with courage and confidence. When you have faith in the Lord and you lean on him and not your own understanding, it builds you up as a leader and as a woman. How you show up. It and I think when people can see that this what you see is what you get, I really think that it also helps you with trustworthiness because they know, you know what, if I go over there and I talk to her, she's not, whether I like it or not, I know I'm going to get the truth. She's not going to just tell me what I want to hear. She's going to tell me what she really thinks. So
Yep.
I like being that person where, you know, if you come to me, you're going to get what I believe to be true, not what I think you want to hear. And I think that's important because you'll find that when your people can trust you, they'll come to you with the things that they should because they know they can take your response and your assistance to the bank. But if they know that they can come in and they can sway you left and right and shift you all around, they will not respect you and they will not follow you.
Hmm.
You
But they at
know,
least want to be heard out. You hear them out, and then you tell them the truth,
yeah.
what it is, and you tell them why. I mean, because that's one of the things I do with Ryan is I tell them, hey, I hear them out, I hear their opinion, and then I tell them the concerns that I have. And this is why I'm making this decision. This is why I say we need to do it this way because these other things over here need to be considered because there may
In
be
order,
things that they just don't understand.
that's right. And in order for salt to hold its savor, the seasoning has to be intact. So that means your integrity, your courage, your ability to tell the truth and show up as a whole adult needs to be intact. Those qualities will help you do that. Do you have charisma, commitment, good communication, confidence, courage, discernment, generosity, innovative, listening? Do you listen? Passion, positive um, attitude. You know, a lot of us do. We have, you know, you see so many of us, we just have poor attitudes. You always have a negative scowl on your face. You just have a poor spirit. Why is that? Examine it. You have, can you problem solve? Are you good at building relationships? Are you responsible? Do you have security? Do you competence? Are you, what does it say here for security? Possessing self awareness and confidence without being arrogant. Servitude, are you willing to
Hmm.
serve? Because to be a woman of God, you have to do what? You have to serve. You have to serve God. And that means through your acts of service with your team, with your family, with your friends, with whoever. You show up
Hmm.
with a humble spirit. Teachability. Can you learn anything? Can you humble yourself enough to receive instruction? We talk about Proverbs. Can you receive
Yep.
wise counsel?
Because that's the thing what people don't always get about leadership. Leadership is not about I get my way. Leadership is you are the first one there to show everybody this is how we serve. This is how we're going
Mhm.
to do this. This is how we're going to take care of these things. It's not about telling other people what to do. That's
Or
not what
pretending
it
you know
is.
everything.
Or pretending you know everything. Absolutely. That's not what it is at all.
So I want you guys to think about a time where you, instead of just telling the truth, if you didn't want to do something, you did it anyway. Where instead of speaking from your heart, you just said what you knew everybody wanted to hear because you didn't want to be the one to say no. You didn't want to when there is a hostile work environment complaint, you want to be silent when they come and interview and ask what's going on in the office because you don't want no smoke. I don't want any trouble. But then you're the same one later on when the problematic person starts coming for you. You want everybody to speak up now. They're not coming because when you had your chance, you remained silent in your own cowardice. Yeah, and I literally had that situation happen to me on a previous job where it was like, hey, we need to stick together and we need to, because there's strength in numbers, and we need to speak out against this. Well, nobody wanted to do that, and they slowly all got picked off and lost their positions. When had
Mm.
they have come together, we could have addressed the problem. Especially when they were
Wow.
making statements like, I came to work to make people quit today. Who am I going to get
Wow.
make quit today? You don't think you would have had better luck with teaming up? as a group and going to get that person addressed. Instead, you allowed your cowardice to keep you quiet because you said, well, they're not bothering me right now. See, that's what cowardice does. When you see wickedness, you'll be quiet because right now it's not affecting you. But then when it comes your way, now you want everybody to run and speak up and fight for you? Absolutely not. You're on your own. So you have to think about those type of things. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been that person that just was quiet in the face of poor behavior, misconduct? I want you to think about that and think about why you thought being silent was better than having the courage to speak up and right the wrongs. I don't want any trouble. You're going to have trouble either way because eventually they're going to come your way. So I would rather get fired for doing the right thing than to get fired being a coward. But that's just me. Because I'm secure in knowing that this true and living God has got my back. And when one door closes, he's ready to open another for me. And he always has. He always has. And that is something that I can take to the bank because in my 48 years on this planet, I've seen it and he's shown me that he will provide. That's something that comes over time. I'm going to say you're going to get it when you are struggling with your faith, when you're struggling with belief, you have a hard time moving with the courage that God has given you. You're like the children when they were wandering in the wilderness, when he told them to go up and possess the land. They let a ill report come and scare them. Even though, you think about it, this guy parted the Red Sea for them, gave them manna from the sky, water from a rock, and when it came time for them to go and possess, they allowed fear to fumble their inheritance, to cause them to fumble. So we know that he's not giving us the spirit of fear, but of power. If we can move in that and in authority, if you can show up being who God has created you to be, you'll have the keys to your own kingdom. But you gotta be brave. You gotta be bold. You gotta be willing to fight for what's yours, whatever it is, to use your talents that the Most High has given you. Are you going to be that wicked servant that goes and buries the talent in the dirt? Or are you going to go out there and be bold and brave and spend that talent where you know you can, where you know it'll apply, where you know it'll have an impact, even if it's not to impact millions or thousands? Your impact may be just for 5 people. But if you go and you spend the talent, that one talent, and you go reach those 5, you are going to receive, well done, thou good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear. Zell, what you got?
Oh, I'm definitely here loving it. And it's really making me think about how um I move in my day-to-day life, even especially when I'm not at work. I think about other people that look to me because I'm going to tell you, whether even if you're not in a leadership position at work, if
Yep.
you're not, you don't have a spouse that you have to be in consideration of, and then you're just a single person living in your apartment, you are still in a leadership position. Somebody is watching you. Somebody sees the things that you do. They see if you're consistent. Your family, your friends, they can tell. They know, hey, can I count on this person? Or do they tell the truth? And when I say truth, things that we're not even thinking about. When they say they're going to be here at 10 o'clock, are they here? When they say they're going to do something, are they there? And when they do come with it, are they coming with a positive attitude? Or are they whining and moaning about not wanting to do it? Because it's no different. If you don't want to do it, but you're complaining the whole time you're doing it, you may as well have not done it because
That's
it's
right.
going to undo anything that that you said you were going to do. And so you have to think about you're in a leadership position everywhere, whether you're connected directly to somebody or if it's an indirect situation. You have to think about the world. Someone else sees you. Even if it's just your neighbors, they see how you conduct yourself. They see how you move. If you can be depended on, they notice what you do in your life, whether we realize it or not. And I really don't think people stop and think about that. And it's something that we
Yeah.
really should do. They can tell how you do things, whether it's
Yeah.
just it could be something as simple as, hey, that person, they keep their piece of property up well. They make sure that they follow the rules. Their car is always clean. They keep their grass
Mhm.
cut. They're always doing this. I know that they're going to make sure that this happens. If you're involved in your community, if you volunteer somewhere, people see you and they see what you care about and if you're dependable or not. And that goes a long way, because when the day comes and you need help and you need someone else to lean on, people are much more apt to help you when you've always been there and been consistent with helping others. Because
That's
I
right.
will help, even if they haven't been helping me. If I see that somebody else they help other people, they may have never helped me. But then when they're in need, I'm more likely to go and help them because I just see how they move in the world. And so
Yeah.
all those things make a difference with how you're viewed, and how, we're a community here. We are humans and we're very social people. We were not meant to be an island unto ourselves. We are meant to all socialize and live and be in harmony together. So we all interact with each other and we affect each other in, whether it's for good or bad, but we're going to affect each other. And the question is what you do, is what each one of us does. Is that a positive effect? How are you going to leave the world? Are you going to leave this place much more positive? The job you work in, are they like dreading you coming in? Are they like, oh, I can't wait till, Michael
Yeah.
gets here?
Yeah.
They're glad
Yeah.
to see you coming. Oh, well,
That's real talk.
when
That's
Nina
real
gets here, she
talk.
gonna fix it. We just wait till she gets here.
Mhm.
I can't wait till Ren gets here because she'll know what to
Yeah.
do. I don't know. You want to be that person. You don't want,
You do.
here she comes. Here we go. I got to deal with
Oh
her.
hell, here she comes. Some
Exactly.
funky attitude. Hate to see you coming.
You
You
don't want
don't
to
want
be
to
that
be that
person
person.
because
No.
because what happens is, if you're the person everybody loves, they know they can count on you. You are not the one that they want to let go.
Hmm.
They will quickly let go of the person that's a problem.
Yep.
But someone they know they can count on, they know they're going to be there, they know they can work with, they're going to be more likely to try to keep that person than the person that's a problem. Unless there's some other, craziness going on. There has to be some other underhanded stuff going on. But for the most
Right.
part, they want to keep people that are an asset. We want to be an asset to this world. We want to be an asset to the people around us. Even with friendships, you don't want to be friends with somebody that, they're never on time. They tell you one thing, do something. I mean, why would you want to even be in close relationship with someone like that?
You know. You
You
know.
know.
Every I had a relative every time when I before I got into the faith, we would keep the pagan holidays. And every time one relative would come over, it changed the whole vibe of the celebration. They changed the whole atmosphere, the energy, just and everybody knew there was some type of conflict or um just poor behavior that was going to come. And you just hated to see her coming. You're like, well, shit, here she comes. You know, you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person when if you call off today, everybody's okay with it, even though it makes the team shorthanded. They are okay because you are just so full of hell and difficult to deal with that they would rather see you off and work short staff than to deal with your BS. You don't want to be that person.
That is so true. That is so, and it's sad because we had there was a young gentleman last year that was let go, in my on my team, and it's amazing how one by one the other teammates came, and we were short-handed, and one by one they came. They said, "Wow, it's so peaceful since he's been gone.
Yeah,
It's just everything's so smooth and peaceful." And I didn't real they did not even realize just how much chaos he
yeah,
brought to the team by his presence. It was so much tension there. And with him gone, everything was just, I mean, tension, there was no tension in the air. Everything was so much more pleasant just because that one person was gone. And that is a sad, sad thing.
it is. And we're gonna on the Renaissance Woman show. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We're going to talk about how to navigate a toxic workspace because I think there are some key things because some of that does play into because there are, like she was saying, there are some circumstances where you may be the one fighting for righteousness. You may be the one speaking up because of the behavior of people in the workplace. So you may be the one that's doing that. And so you want to make sure that you have the tools that you need. You want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to navigate that space as well. You know, so I just realized something. I'm live on the wrong channel. I'm live on the Renaissance Woman channel show right now. So I'm gonna have to download this and put it on to the Hebrew Woman show, but that's fine. But I do think we're going to follow up here on this channel and if you're on Facebook watching this, I'm going to upload this there as well. Please subscribe to the Renaissance Woman Show and the Hebrew Woman Show. We are live every Sabbath on the Hebrew Woman Show to discuss scripture and to explore our biblical principles and different aspects of what being a follower of Christ looks like in your everyday life. So join us over there and like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, please. I'm going to, if you have any questions or you have any topics that you would like to see Zell and I cover, please email us at sistah7@gmail.com. That's SISTAH7@gmail.com. We'll answer all your questions. I do an Ask Friends segment, and we do a, just asking the Hebrew women segment. Just if you have questions, we're happy to discuss it. And some topics we'll even dive into and cover for you. But that's where I am with it, Zell. I think that these qualities that we've been covering are really important, and I just wanted to kind of tie it together and just show how these help you embody the spirit that you want to have on this walk because it's a difficult walk, It can be difficult.
I totally agree.
And if you're on a leadership journey, that can be difficult to navigate as well because leaders are trained. They're not just born and you don't just wake up and you're a leader. Now, yes, you may have some natural leadership skills, but these are things that need to be honed. They need to be sharpened like a fine-edged blade. You need to become
reinforced over and over.
Right.
You have to go back and reinforce it. So it's not a one and done on this.
No. You are constantly growing and constantly learning if you are indeed wanting and have the desire to be a true and good leader. And that even goes for your household with your children. Having children doesn't make you a good parent. You have to learn how to become a good parent. Because you're a leader of these little people. They're just little people who are in your care and control, and it is up to you to lead and guide them in the direction that they will go. It's not for you to try to just be their friend. You can be their friend when you get done training them. When they get down out of training, meaning they're in adulthood and they've gone up and they've grown and flown the nest. But you should always be a place where they can come back to for wisdom and counsel. And guess what? Being a leader means sometimes you are going to have to tell people no. You are going to have to disappoint. And if you are unwilling to disappoint people and to say no, then you are not fit to lead. There's no place for people pleasing in leadership. It ruins your integrity. Mm-hmm. It ruins the trust that people will have in you as a leader because you are a people pleaser.
Yep.
I can't take that to the bank because you'll say anything just to be liked. It doesn't make sense.
It's just so very, very true. True.
It's not a good practice. And when you least, and I like the point that you brought up too, because about people watching you, you really do not realize how, for some woman, child, whoever, your neighbors, you are the example. You may literally be the example on the block. Oh, they're out there cutting that grass. I guess I better go cut mine.
That's so true.
They're always doing stuff with their kids. You are the light of the world. Christ told you that. Like, you are the light. And so what good is a light if it's hidden under a bushel? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it serves no one. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works, your good works. Okay? People should see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven, because there when you show up how you're supposed to show up, when you are the light, especially in that dark room, people are glad to see you there. Thank
Exactly.
God
That
she's
is so
here.
true. Because there's so many times that sometimes people want somebody to speak up when everybody else is afraid to say something.
Mhm.
Somebody has to have some sense. And I mean, I think about that so many times. Sometimes there are other people that they know what's right, they know what it should be, but they're afraid to say something. Somebody has to be be willing to say, no, this is not right. This is a problem. We can't do that.
You
And
have to
so,
have the
yeah,
courage.
you do.
You you have to be, sometimes you have to be the David to the Goliath. You have to
Mhm.
be the one to stand up and fight. Again, Psalms 31:24 it says, "Be of good courage. He shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord." So if you have faith and you hope in God, He will strengthen you and He will give you the courage to stand up and do the right thing. Don't be weak and allow yourself to be out there flapping in the wind. Make a stand. Plant yourself. Get rooted. Make your roots go deep into the soil of the word. Fortify yourself and put on the whole armor of God.
Mhm.
So we will pick back up. I really wanted to show you guys how all that just linked together, though, why we started with these 21 indispensable characteristics and qualities of a leader. And what you will find as we go forward with our next selection, which will be the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, how all of this ties together. Okay, it'll all start, it makes sense. It's just good sense, and it's rooted in the character and qualities that you will need to walk as a follower of Christ. You'll need all of them.
Mhm.
And if you're a leader, you're going to need all those irrefutable laws of leadership. So that's why I like all of these. And so if you haven't picked up your book yet, please go ahead and start reading the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And that will be the next book where we cover in our leadership series. And as I said, sometime tomorrow, we are going to come over here and we're going to talk about navigating a hostile work environment and what you need to do to protect yourself. Thanks for watching, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.